I'm Betty Swan, and welcome to our show, Wisdom in the Night, where you get help for those tough decisions in your life. Tonight I have a great guest. She's an actress and an entrepreneur. Welcome, Vera Moore.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much, Betty. I am just absolutely ecstatic to be here. Thank you.
I want to hear all about you. I just heard
okay.
just enough that it's like intriguing. I want to know all about you. Tell me, start with your background.
Okay, I don't know if I can tell you everything. We don't have enough time,
right.
but we'll do it. We'll come back again. And but I'll start, I grew up in Corona, Queens, and I'm a seventh child. I have 5 brothers and 1 sister. My mother was a domestic worker. My father was a porter. We were a very, very poor family, but what we had, we were rich. Mm-hmm. I grew up in a very, I don't like to use the word religious, but a relationship with Christ's family. My mother was the mother of the church. My father was the deacon, the senior deacon of the church. So I grew up in church all my life. You know, it was just church. I even hate to say maybe too much church for me. At the time, I thought was Sunday school and YPHA, and then, then church, and then after we go in the back and eat the dinner, then go back at night. So my whole life was around that church. And I went to PS 143. A public school, and then I went to 127. And right out of high school, I got a job. I had to work. And I worked for the federal government, the solicitor's office for the Port of New York in Bowling Green for 5 years, because I had a plan. I always had a plan. I wanted to be in the theater, and I used to sing in church. And my plan was I was going to work for 5 years, save all my money, stay at home, and then I would go into the theater. You know, God has been so good all my life. He's protected me and led me and guided me. When I worked for the solicitor's office, I had a wonderful boss. I'll never forget Mr. Greenberg. And I told him, I want to be in the theater. And he said, you plan it, and I did, but I'd have to go to my auditions on my lunch hour.
Well, now, wait a minute. You didn't go to acting school?
Well, I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
I had to go to work first.
Okay.
I had to work, and I go to acting school later on.
Okay, go ahead.
But I always took singing lessons, and I would go to the auditions on my lunch hour. But I had to get back to Bowling Green, but the auditions up on Midtown. And I'd eat on the train. I really would eat my sandwiches on the train. I would take a second outfit to wear because I was working in the law office, so you had to look a certain way. And then I started taking classes on Saturdays at Herbert Berghoff, an acting school, and I went there for 10 years. And one day, after a lot of rejection. See, in theater, you learn discipline. And, you learn that when a person says no, you don't stop. You keep going.
Okay, let's just stop right now. There's people watching this show right now.
Yes.
They're in acting, want to be in acting.
Yes.
And the rejection is wiping them out. What did you do to handle it?
Well, see, the rejection can't wipe you out if you really want it. You have to be so passionate about it. It's like entrepreneurship. It's like being thirsty in a desert. You can't catch this stuff like a cold. You have to really want this. So you're going to be rejected. You're not going to get every interview that you go for. You know that right off the bat. And that's part of being in the theater, So you accept that, and I did. But you keep going back and you hone your skills while you're doing it because you have to be ready for the opportunity. So I stayed there 5 years. One day I went for an audition. I came back and I said, I got it. You're kidding. Yes, I got it.
No, wait a minute. You went 5 years before you got a job?
Yes. Well, I worked. I had to work. I had to work, and I worked for the government for 5 years before I got my job. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
But I would go every time there's an audition. I'd look in the paper, the backstage, or the Variety, and it was very difficult because when you're not a union, you have to wait for the particular call. Let's say you're in the union. You can go on Monday. I have to go Friday because I'm a non-union. And it's called a cattle call. You could be number 100. Mm-hmm. So I finally got my job, and it was South Pacific. It was in the chorus, Jones Beach. And the lawyer said, are you going to leave a federal government job for summer stock? Because it was only for the summer. And I did.
That risk. You got to be a risk taker.
Let go the trunk of the tree, Betty, and go out on the limb. I mean, because listen, I left all my benefits, annual leave, sick leave. I worked for the federal government, and I left it for 12 weeks, and I never looked back.
But, I heard someone say one time you can either have security or you can have freedom, but you cannot have them both.
Well, yeah. The security was the job, and the freedom was to do with your heart.
What you wanted to
Yeah.
do.
And it really wasn't a job after I left because I just felt free. I loved it. But you have to, it's a process. It's a process, and it takes time.
Now, let me ask you something. Were you doing the soap opera and Broadway at the
Yes.
same time?
Yes, most actors do.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can do that.
Yeah, because the show is at night, soap opera's during the day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you work it out with your contract that you're not going to do anything on matinee because there's a matinee on
And there's a
Wednesday.
way. Did you go on auditions even with all of that going on, or did you hold off for a while?
Well, I held off because two was enough, yeah, but I did. But you have to keep honing your skills.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, along in that, you had a personal walk with the Lord, right?
Well, you know what? As I said, I grew up in church, and I always knew Christ, because I was there. But I think my relationship, see, there's believing, and then there's knowing that you know that you know. It's
Right.
different.
And you have a relationship with
Relationship is different, I think when my mother got very ill, 1994, she passed away. And then the following couple of years, it was a very traumatic thing for me. 4 people in my family died in the same year.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes, my brother-in-law died. This is 2003. And then, let's say November, my sister died like 3 months later. Then another brother died. I'm going to tell you, I have to tell you this because I have to tell you how I got through it.
Okay. Because there are people watching tonight.
Yeah.
There's probably somebody
Yeah.
who's gotten
Yeah.
this kind of news.
Yes.
And they're just thinking,
Yeah.
I'm spinning. How do I handle it?
So, and then another brother died in July, and the last one died in December. This is all in the same year. And, sometimes you can get to the point where you really can't even pray. I'm talking personal now. You just have to moan, and you say, Lord, help me. And I think I surrendered. I had to, because it was devastating. It was like wiped out my whole family. I had all my brothers are gone except for one. My sister died
A lot
of
of
cancer.
people blame God during that time and say, God killed my brothers, God killed my sister. And that's not true.
No, I definitely didn't blame God. But in the flesh, you're just heartbroken.
Right. And you're trying to handle it.
Yeah, you're trying to handle it. I mean, we didn't even have time to write thank yous for people to come.
Before somebody else passed away.
Every 3 months someone died, and my only
Goodness.
sister. So it was, I'm not going to say it was easy. It wasn't. And I was a little angry.
Sure.
But no matter how, I always told God I loved him. Because I really never stopped.
You know what
loving
my
him.
husband said to me one time? Betty, God's a big boy. He can handle it.
And he
Just
knew.
tell him how you really feel.
Yes, and you can't hide it anyway because he knows before you articulate. He knows how you
Right,
feel.
right. You got a microphone right
Exactly.
here
So you have to tell
in
the
your
truth.
brain.
And my relationship with Christ, there's no. It's just we have conversations. I talk to him
understand
just
that.
like I'm talking to you.
Absolutely.
There's no repeating something 20.
No.
No. Mine is. I had to.
All day long, too, right?
Yeah. Yes, without ceasing. It was just something in my heart, but he knew how I felt, and it takes time. I mean, I had to grieve. He knew
Yes.
that.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't like to use that word depression, but I guess I was in a state of depression.
Well, sure.
Yeah, I was.
It would kind of be abnormal if you didn't have that happen.
Yeah, but
You can't
He
have
brought
that
me
much
through.
sadness.
Yeah, he brought me
but
through.
But out of that, you got a close walk with the Lord.
Yes, and then that's when that's when you have to have the faith. Because even after that disaster in my family, my father fell and he was paralyzed. Yeah. And then I was saying, Lord, heal him.
What do you ever find yourself thinking, how much more can I take?
Yes, and you say that. And my father was paralyzed for 7 years. And
Completely?
Well, yes, he couldn't walk. Yeah, he could hold a little chicken bone, and that was even heavy. And but God has a way. I know my husband came through Christ through my father. So there's always a reason. Mm-hmm. And I thank God every day for all the experiences that I have gone through because it allows me to say and to tell others, you can do this, but you have to surrender it. You totally have to surrender it. You have to lean on God and ask him to help you because you cannot do it of yourself. Mm-hmm. You just can't.
There's nothing like sweet surrender. I've heard there's a song called Sweet surrender.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like.
There's nothing like that. Well, now, so you kept going and acting, and then what did you do next?
Well, I had an opportunity when I went on the soap opera. There was a void in the market for quality products for people of color. And that
Makeup or
makeup,
hair?
Makeup, cosmetics and skincare. And that was the genesis of Vera More Cosmetics.
So it's called
Vera
Vera
More.
More Cosmetics. And did you just get the idea someday at one time? Did it just pop in your head? How'd you get it?
The idea of doing that, because the void in the market was because there wasn't, well, when I went on, I didn't like what they were using on my face. So, you tap into that untapped market, and I knew I could do
worked
this.
for Oprah Winfrey one time doing makeup for her show. She got sued in Texas and had to do her show every night in the town I'm from, Amarillo, Texas.
Okay.
And I did a lot of black faces.
Yes.
And it was interesting.
Well, there's such a
Fascinating.
variety of colors.
Oh, my goodness.
See, that's why it's so interesting for people of color. It's not one shade.
No.
It's really ivory from ebony. There are black people as light as you and dark as Cicely Tyson City.
Absolutely.
So there's a whole range of blues and greens and yellows and
but
reds.
It's fascinating as a makeup artist.
Yes, it is.
To get to work on those kind of skins. I loved it.
Yeah. So and there's been a void for quality. Now, I'm not saying there weren't any products out there.
No, I know there were.
You know what I'm saying? Quality products. So I wanted to change that.
Now, did you design the product yourself? Did you come up with the formulation, or did you?
No, we haven't. We got a chemist, and we designed the colors. Let's put it that way. We said, no, we need a little more something of this, and no, it's not going to look right. That's too red. Maybe we need a little more yellow, and we were able to do that.
How long did it take you to come up with that?
About a couple of years. And then we had some challenges, of course, but we made it. We did it.
And now, are your cosmetics, people can purchase them today?
Yes, we're in a major chain nationally. So
here in town?
Here in town, New York, and also nationally.
Oh, really? So people around the nation
nationally
can look for it and search for you on Google or
Vera More
search by Vera More
VeraMoreCosmetics.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great. So what kind of response have you had from people?
We've got great response. Our company is 37 years young, and we've been in the chain store for 10 years now. Yes, and we're very excited. There are always challenges on different levels. There are challenges, but we're
what kind of challenge?
Well, it's always about distribution, getting the word out there and growing the brand. We're a small company. I own this company 100%. Thank God for that, which is almost a miracle. And people look at me and say, really? Yes, I do. It's not easy. And so the challenges are financial. As
like
you want to grow
always
your
having
brand.
enough money for what you're doing next.
Well, you want to grow your brand. You want to be innovative. You want to do things. You want to be competitive with other companies. So there are challenges, and it's very important to get distribution. It's not easy.
How do you get it?
Well, you have to be out there talking. Like I'm on your show. This is great. You have to get publicity.
And this show goes all over the world.
See, this is a blessing. This is great. So how do you get your word out there? You do things. I've done shows. Television shows. We've done makeup for for hair companies. We do a lot of exhibits. We used to do a lot of things, Coliseum. And it's just getting the word out there, messaging and integrated marketing. We do a lot of things with major companies where we do the makeup. So that's how you continue to grow your brand. And I'm very excited about it.
Yes, I can tell you are. And you have passion about it, don't you?
Oh, if you don't have passion, you can't do it. You can't do it if you don't have passion.
I used to think I would do makeovers on people for free if I never made a penny. I love it so much.
Well, I did a lot of things for free, Betty.
I bet you did. You have to.
Well, you have to get it out there. I mean, you can't compete with the major conglomerates, the giants.
No.
So you do that. That's
now,
all
what do you do about everything changing? Because everything changes all the time. what do you do to stay current? How do you do that?
Well, I think, as a small company, you can't change every time, I don't let trends dictate us.
Oh.
We can flirt with the trend, but they don't dictate us.
Okay, now see, that's a piece of wisdom.
That's
somebody listening.
Yes, you
Talk
can't,
about that.
Well, because we don't have a budget. We don't have deep pockets. We can't change every time a color comes out. You have your standards, and then you do an analysis of the market. You do research. You do a survey to see what they're looking for, and then you can add colors. But every time something comes out, we can't afford to do that because it's a trend, and it may last for a year or 6 months, and then it's over.
Right.
And the investment is.
And do you have like standby things that you carry all the time that you're known for?
Oh yeah. Well, we're known for our foundation, our skincare,
well, because it's beautiful.
Well, thank you, Betty. Thank you very much. Our mantra is, skincare is the foundation. Makeup is an accessory.
Absolutely.
People don't understand. Skincare is the foundation, not the makeup. If you have flawless skin, beautiful skin, clear skin, clear clarity. You don't have to wear a lot of stuff.
Well, what I always told people was, if you're going to spend money, spend it on skincare.
Exactly.
Not the color. You can get the color
anywhere,
all the stuff, but the skincare.
It's taking care of the palate.
Yes. How old do you tell a woman to be, a young woman, to start really concentrating on her skin?
Immediately. She can be 12 and concentrate. I mean, I can remember my mother. You know what? As I said, we were poor, but we always clean. My mother always cleaned our faces. We always kept our skin nice. She did our feet. I just grew up like that, and I've never, ever gone to bed with makeup on in my entire life.
Clean your face.
Never.
Wow, beautiful. Well, you have beautiful skin.
Well, you do too.
Yeah. Well, now let's talk about going forward. Do you plan to continue doing your makeup line forever? Do you hope to sell it? What are your dreams?
Well, I want to continue as long as I have my strength, and then that can spin off to other things. And do I want to sell it? Not at this moment. I have a daughter. I hope we have a legacy.
Is she interested in
my
the makeup?
daughter is, yes, she's a graduate of Howard University, and she's our esthetician. She travels all over the United States training employees about our brand.
Now, your husband was an esthetician
My husband
too,
is
right?
a retired esthetician for 50 years, cosmetologist and esthetician, skincare specialist. So we all feel really good about,
Does your daughter have beautiful skin?
I think so. Yes, she does. I think so.
Now, did she want to follow you in just this, or did she want to be in acting?
No, she loves this, and she loves to cook. She loves to cook. She could have been a chef. She loves to cook, but she loves traveling. She loves teaching, people about skincare, and she's having a great time. She's expecting right now, but
is this your first grandchild?
Yeah, this is my first grandchild.
Oh wow,
with her.
there's nothing like it.
Yeah,
I remember thinking, now, I wonder if I'll be one of those grandmothers that is just silly about their grandchildren. I thought, I bet I'm not.
And
gone.
Yeah,
I became the grandmother that would even pay my own way to go and and babysit. I buy my own plane ticket, go buy them everything they needed, and my daughter and my son would say, "Well, Mom, we're going to go out to eat." I went, "That's fine."
Yeah,
because I just couldn't get my hands on those grandkids fast enough.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm excited. I'm very excited. Can't wait. She's having the baby in May.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about. What have you learned in working with the public? I think there are people who are listening to this conversation that have an idea for a business, but maybe they're thinking, how do you really connect with the public? How do you get under their skin? How do you get them to notice you? What would you say?
Well, first of all, you have to have a quality product. Whatever you decide to do, whether it's a product or a service, you have to have some core values there. You have to have integrity. You have to stand by, and it has to perform. It has to deliver what it says it's going to do, because you've got to build that trust to get your following. So that's very, very important, to show people that what you say and what you say about your product, it works.
There's a lot of companies that don't do that.
Well, of course not. So, but as a small company, I'm speaking personal for Vera Cosmetics, that's imperative.
Everything.
You have to, because how do you grow your brand? You are the brand. So that's very, very important. Those core values have to be there, because then you get the trust. Because it's all about trust for them to even try it.
Have you ever encountered anything in your career that kind of shook that, or has it been pretty smooth sailing with
No,
that?
it's never smooth sailing. I've had some ups and downs, but one door closes, another one opens. God usually does that.
Yeah,
for
that
me.
thing about if he closes a door, he opens a window.
Yes, well, he did. I was supposed to go into a major department store, and I invested quite a bit of money, over $100,000, trying to get in because they required that you had to have certain packaging, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And initially, I had my own store, and I didn't have the box and all the things that were required. And I just put a beautiful bag with some tissue paper. But when I made the attempt to go into the department store, this was the criteria. And I did some trunk shows for them. And trunk shows only supposed to last a couple of months, but they lasted a year. Anyway, fast forward, it didn't work out.
No.
Yeah, exactly. And did I have a pity party? I did. For a little while, I had a pity party, but not long. And then a few months later, I had sitting in front of a major chain. And the first thing they asked me was, "Are you barcoded?" I had never been barcoded, Betty, but I had to get barcoded for that department store.
Oh, my goodness. And so you had it.
All I said in my heart was, "Thank you, Jesus." No, seriously, I mean this. "Are you boxed?" I'd never have been boxed, but I had to be boxed for them. I said, "Of course I'm boxed."
Really, the first one was kind of a dry run. That wasn't really the real thing.
Exactly. That was a dry
People
run.
need to know that.
That was a dry run for the real deal. But it was a year of a dry run, and I was very excited. It was a big investment, but I didn't know. See, we don't know everything.
And we can't see the future.
No.
And we can as humans, you can't. So you have to think through things. You suffer and you can get depressed or whatever. But that Bible verse, all things work together for good
To them that love the Lord.
to those that love the Lord.
Yes.
But then there's a second part to it, and are fitting into His purpose for their life.
His will for his life.
So a lot of people say, well, everything works out for the best. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't always do that. But there is a guarantee. If you love God and if you fit into His purpose for your life, everything will
His
work
plan
together
your
for
life.
good.
But then you also have to surrender to it. Don't fight it.
Okay, like what do you mean?
I mean, if God puts something in your heart, you have to accept it. Sometimes you don't accept everything. For example, you might want to do something that's not right for you. And you have to follow that inner voice, that Holy Spirit. But that's where the faith comes in. That's where the trust comes in. That you're going to believe it and know that it is His voice. And even if you don't understand it, because He says, lean not to your own understanding. And you know why I have peace no matter what?
How? Why?
Because He's given me that joy. I've been through so much. I'm not talking about as far as entrepreneurship, the personal deaths, my mother dying, my father dying, my 4 brothers dying, my sister dying. I have totally surrendered to Christ.
All right, why don't you talk about that just a little bit?
Yeah.
If someone came to you tonight
Yes.
and said, Vera, how do you surrender? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, listen, you have to be ready. Because some people don't surrender. You have to be willing
I
to.
know, that's why I'm
maybe I
asking.
was wiped out. I don't know.
But
maybe
maybe you
I had
didn't-
done all that I could do, and I realized, Lord, I can't do anything else. You're driving this bus.
It's a great place to get, but it's a heck of a deal to get there.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm.
I had a miscarriage early on. I had actually 4, but the first one I really was hard toward the Lord, and I had gotten cynical toward the Lord because I'm like you, I've been in church all my life. And having this miscarriage wiped me out so much that I said, Lord, I can't fight you anymore. I have nothing left. I'd been fighting Him. I said, I have nothing in me that can fight you. I give up. And what did I give up to? Peace, contentment, serenity, and God took over.
Amen.
And did it the way He wanted
Yeah,
to do it, and it was better than I could ever do it.
You have no power, Betty. Mm-mm. We're like bubbles on the water. He says, you have no. And talking about miscarriage, I had 2 miscarriages, and I had 2 fibroids, and the doctor said, we don't know if you're going to be able to hold this baby. And my mother said, we're going to pray. My mother was a praying woman. My mother was a warrior. Mm-hmm. I mean,
like
you know.
that War Room. Have you ever seen did you ever see the War Room movie?
No.
Oh, well, it's like what you're talking
Okay.
about. A lady would get in her closet,
Yeah.
and that was her
yeah.
war room.
Yeah. My mother and father were warriors. Yeah, they were. You know. He said, "Don't worry, you're gonna have this baby. I'm gonna pray." And I did have the baby. No pain, no labor. And the doctor said the reason why I had the baby is because the tumors that I had held that baby in place. Otherwise, I would have lost it.
You're kidding.
I would have lost it.
You know what?
The fibroid tumors held the baby in place. Otherwise, I would have lost that.
Do you realize that you told about 4 stories tonight of something really bad happening, and it was the precursor to the really good thing that would not have happened if the bad thing had happened?
Yes.
That's what you've been saying tonight.
Well, that's the way it is. And that happens to people all the time. Sometimes you go through these challenges and trials and tribulations, and you say, Lord, help me. Oh, God, what is this? That's where that faith comes in again. That's where you have to surrender, and you have to lean on him, and it's trust. It's just trust. But you have to give it up. You say, Lord, okay.
There you go. Well, folks, let me ask you something. Did you get what she was saying? It's not like you're going to go through life with nothing bad
Lord,
happening.
no.
You're going to have hard days. Maybe you've had some recently. Maybe you're watching tonight and you're in a hospital room thinking, oh my goodness. Or maybe you've had something very sad, a death in your family. Well, I want to tell you this thing of surrender.
Yes.
Let go. You got 2 women right now both looking at each other going, I've done that. I've done that. It's the thing to do. It's the right thing to do. So I want to tell you, let go. Give up. Let God run your life. Vera, I want to thank you. You have been so
Betty.
inspiring. The things that you have said, and I can't get over how you told at least 4 stories of the worst thing that could have happened and how hard it was on you, and you went through it anyway, very difficult, and then something good happened. So I want to tell you, you're watching this, you're going through something hard. Well, let me tell you, you can surrender. You can give it up. You can let go. You can even be sad in it. But you can say, Lord, I'm going to trust you. I believe you have a way for me to make this turn out good. So thank you so much for tuning in. It wasn't an accident that you turned on the TV tonight. I hope you receive some great wisdom and that you have a good rest of the night, whether you're going to sleep or you're going to work. I'll see you next time. Bye.